And so the reason that I wanted to talk to you about, I guess, some of the most recent things that are happening out on Nebco Lake, specifically the ordinance to ban wakeboard boats. And from there, I guess, just a little bit of background on that. The discussions had started at the Nebco Lake District in the summer of 2024. And at those meetings, when I look back at the notes, I wasn't present at those meetings, but when I look back, there was less than 5 people that attend those meetings. And of the roughly 170 parcels that are out there, there's less than 3% representation from the people that live on the lake. I do have a concern about the Nebco Lake District in the fact that not a lot of information gets out to the public. And so on their website, it talks about the representation of homeowners. However, I don't see anything about public. And I think that is a big concern for me. I guess I realize, that even though I live on the lake, I don't own the lake. And I think that's a big difference. I think that Nebco is a public lake and the public should have a say, whether it's through the Nebco Lake District or through other avenues. And I don't know if people are hearing what's going on out there. So that being said, wakeboard boats. Are we familiar with those? Would you like a description? Wakeboard boats is anything from 19 to 25 foot watercraft, typically an inboard or a V-drive. They can range from 3,000 pounds up to 5,000 pounds typically. Some of them will have ballast tanks. You familiar with those? So the ballast tanks pumps in water to shift weight, to improve the weight quality for riders. And you can also use, systems to pump the water out. Similar to other things such as live wells and stuff like that. When this was presented to the homeowners and stuff like that, they had basic information, and it was called that, according to new science, that these were detrimental. And there wasn't a presentation that was given as far as here's what we're seeing on Nebco Lake. And so today, I guess I wanted you to be aware of some of the things that we put together, not necessarily in Nebco Lake District, but basically people that are looking at this and trying to understand what we're talking about. So the first thing that I'd like to talk about is the depth chart, and that's the colored little section here. And this depicts both sides, the east and the west side of the lake. You'll see that the light colored, shaded color is in the middle of the lake, and that is depths of 15 feet or greater. Okay, so most of that is to the west side, right? And on the east side, there's only a small section that's only 10.5 feet deep. If you flip to the second page, that blows that diagram up a little bit more on the west side, and it shows from basically the point all the way down to the dam that it's greater than 20 feet deep on the diagram. The smallest the smallest distance from one point to the other is actually 911 feet. And that'll be important later when we look at some of these, conservation group talking points and stuff like that. And then on the third page, you'll see the east side of the lake at roughly 4.5 feet with a small pocket of 10 feet deep. Do you have any questions on the maps? And those are basically through fishing apps and stuff like that. There is another site through the Wisconsin DNR that kind of talks about that as well, or it basically confirms those lake depths and stuff like that. So I guess when we look at the studies that are being presented, there's really a couple things that they talk about. 3 main points that almost all the studies talk about: shoreline erosion, disturbing vegetation and resuspension of the lake bottom, as well as invasive species. There's some other notable points to grab your attention, such as unsafe boating practices or bow up orientation. People are always kind of interested in that. And then also fish communications. And so those things are noted in some of the information that's handed out. So the first one that probably is gaining the most press right now is the St. Anthony study. And this was done by the University of Minnesota. It's 138 pages. I didn't print it out.
That's the
But
one.
we could have maybe used that poll if I did.
And that's the study you emailed me, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
and so the board, you guys all received that about a month ago in your email.
Okay, so as far as that one, that's probably the one that everyone's talking about and the most in-depth and also reputable. And so they made a couple conclusions, which is on the last page, as far as when operating boats. It's recommended that recreational power boats, similar to the ones in the studies, should operate in 10 feet of water or greater to minimize the impacts on the lake bed. So we're looking at 10 feet, and obviously Nebco Lake has that in certain sections. As well as power boats similar to one of the studies, in order to minimize not only the weeds, but the lake bed, 10 feet. It also goes on to say that slower speeds or no wake is recommended for all boats in less than 10 feet of water. The recommendation is for wake boats to operate in 20 feet of water. And again, it stresses that all boats can cause potential damage to the aquatic vegetation, whether it's a wakeboard boat or any type of boat like that in the studies. I've also included an executive summary of some of the other things that St. Anthony has looked at in their phase 1 study. They made some recommendations, at which point they cut those back and tried to reinforce in phase 2 study some of the previous recommendations. Most importantly, they took out the distance from shore. So even though you have 20 feet of water, they're not quite sure at what the proper distance from shore should be. And that's where it gets a little bit gray as far as what's acceptable. The current rules in the state of Wisconsin are 100 feet for all boats. Some surveys or some groups say 200 feet. Some say 4. Some are upwards of 800 feet. St. Anthony Falls is currently looking at that right now in their latest study. So they're comparing those wakes, how far they need to dissipate, as well as how do those waves compare to natural waves that are already on the lake? What carries more energy? Most, I think, conservation groups realize that it's probably not from boating, but from a backhoe, ice shoving, natural causes that is really the main culprit of shoreline erosion. So they're out to try to prove, I guess, where they're going with that. And then the last one I put in there, I think I emailed that one as well, is the wake surfing one.
You know, I can't remember if they were both in the email. I know the one was large, so that's why I sent it versus printing it.
Okay.
And I don't recall off the top of my head if this one is in that same email or not.
Sure. Okay, so this one is just showing a different study that 200 feet and actually 10 feet of depth for wakeboard boats. Again, in a peer-reviewed magazine, but not considered as highly regarded as the St. Anthony Falls study. And so then, if we take that information and we try to compare it to what we have going on in NEPCO, specifically like the shoreline erosion. So again, we're talking about what's the proper distance. And there's not a peer-reviewed document that shows the correct answer or people that are making they are making recommendations, but nothing that is of scientific, I guess, consequence. So some people say 200, some people say 400. Those are all, we are capable of doing that. on Nebco Lake.
Well, so you've got here 244 feet.
Degrees.
That's degrees, okay.
911 feet.
911, okay, so you're, okay,
And that's from the closest point
okay, yep,
on that side of the lake.
all right.
So, and then as far as like the disturbing of vegetation and resuspension, so that the particles that are on the bottom, the St. Anthony says, hey, it's got to be 20 feet. They didn't actually even test at 20 feet. If you read that data, it went from 10, 12, 14, all the way up to, I think, 27. And what they came down to in there was that 20 feet, there is nothing happening. So that you can rest assured that at 20 feet, you're not disturbing the ground or the vegetation, the bottom, right? And that's going to be from vegetation. So if you have to say, okay, well, if it's 20 feet deep and the weeds are growing 15 feet high, then you have a problem. In Nebco Lake, in that main channel, there's typically not weeds growing at that 20-foot depth. The weeds are in the shallower bays. And as far as invasive species, I mean, how do you answer that question? Ballast tanks, I agree, they should be sanitized just like anything else, whether it be a live well, jet ski, jet boat, open frame trailer, you have to properly sanitize them. Nebco actually has a program in place called the Clean Boats and Clean Waters, where we have a representative sitting at the boat landing and trying to talk to people about not bringing in invasive species. So that's in place, and wakeboard boats should have the same standard, just like everybody else. Unsafe boating practices. No documented cases in Wisconsin or Nebco. Boats are certified by the U.S. Coast Guard, and that would be if you're running a bow up or whatever, I guess, formation that you're running from. That has to be safe and visible, and that has the U.S. Coast Guard approves those boats. Fishing communications. I'm not commenting on that one. I don't know the language, but I'm gonna have to let someone else defer on that one. Okay, so as far as like some of the general information that I provided, I guess how has this been presented to the public or to the boards? I don't feel that has. The Nebco Lake District did not provide a study with any specific data. They provided some information, and then we're left to decide on our own. And I think it's important that we have these conversations. The depth charts were provided by others in response to what do we have going on out there. That was not provided by the Nebco Lake District. Soil samples, what are we dealing with? Are we dealing with sand, gravel, muck? No answer on that. The DNR. Did the DNR comment on this? And the answer is no. No comment. So no feedback on that. Do we know how many wakeboards are even out on Nebco Lake?
No.
No. So I know of two. I actually brought this up at one of the meetings. We have in the Clean Boats, Clean Acts. I'm wondering if when they're doing that, could we monitor to see how many boats? I don't know this for sure. I was told that there was 2 boats since they started looking at, and I think it was in August. So you're talking about 4 total boats. 2 of them haven't left the lake. So, and as far as like the public hearing about this, I don't know that has. And so I'm not sure that when you're weighing a decision to pass an ordinance, did they look at what the general population thinks or the people that are using the lake? I'm not sure how that gets out there if there's only 5 people at the meeting and 3 of them are presenting on whatever it is. I don't feel that we have an actual sample size that's relevant. And then lastly, as far as the enforcement, we've been talking about this for months at the town of Port Edwards or the Port Edwards Village. Last month it came up, and we were told by guests, as well as you heard here, that they have a plan for that has not been shared with the Village of Port Edwards or anyone else. There are laws in place out there now that are enforced by the state, and those are the standards that we boat by now and enforced by the DNR. And so I have to ask, like, if there is something about NEBCO that is so specific or so fragile that it can't go by the standards, and if it is, why don't we have the information to say, hey, here's the part that you need to know, and it's different than every other lake or whatever that we boat on, that we can't treat it the same way. And so that information hasn't come out. And I think that when I hear that, then I have to think that I would leave it up to the state, right? 2 minutes. All right. So in ending, I'd like to, I guess, my point would be to leave it up to the state. If there's not something specific about the lake, leave it up to the state. If we don't know how to enforce it, leave it up to the state. And that's really what I have to say. I did bring videos. I don't see any way. I told you last time about the weed cutters. I don't know if you're interested and you want to see that in the next 2 minutes.
No.
No. Okay. Thank you for your time.
I think the comment that I've taken from this that I would like to make is that I think when we were approached by the NEBCO Lake District, it was because, and one thing only, is the weed eaters were not being utilized. So the idea with the Lake District was that the people then could get that taken care of, so that the lake was usable for everyone, not just for the people who live on that lake. That is not owned by the people who live on that lake. And I believe that the utilization should be for everyone. So if there's a decision to be made, everyone should be making that decision, not a specific district, a specific municipality, nor a specific group of people. So I think that's what we took from everything, I think. And I think that's where we stand. So I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate listening to both sides. But at this point in time, I think we know where we stand. And we're going to be meeting.
And so there is a Facebook page out there. I tried to get this, so we had a survey from the NEBCO Lake District. I did ask them if I could share it because I thought that would be valuable information. 47 people filled out that survey to shape NEBCO. Out of 170 homeowners, I think that's unacceptable. And of the 20,000 residents surrounding NEBCO, that's even more embarrassing. And I don't feel that that's okay.
We are part of that district because we, as a town, own a piece of property along there. And I did not receive any
I
type
don't
of,
think I've seen that.
we did not receive that. So that leads me to believe that either there was selective sending out, or that we were forgotten, or we just didn't care what we had to say. So I do have a question. Could the reason that the shoreline distance is excluded from all of these because the shorelines are so different among all lakes?
Yeah, I would say so. So I think, I don't know if I led with this. I don't represent the NEBCO Lake District. I don't represent a conservation group or a pro boating. I'm just a homeowner.
Just a person?
Yes.
Okay.
So, but as far, I mean, on the NEBCO Lake District website, they do have what they're doing for the weed cutters.
Yes.
There's no distances and there's no depth charts on there. I feel that's specifically done for a reason.
And if I am correct, even the weed eaters have to stay a distance away from the shoreline.
That's correct. And in less than and greater than 3 feet of water.
So,
But when they're talking about resuspension, the weed cutter resuspends the particles. There's no doubt about that.
I would
and-
think anything that comes that close would.
Right. And so using information to basically deny a certain group is really, I don't think that's fair. But, yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you very much. for coming to speak. We appreciate that. The more knowledge, the better. All right, moving on. Anyone have any comments or questions?
Got some cards here if anybody wants to chat. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I thought you said I do. I'm sorry. All right, unique sign request, Pete Gilson. Pete, finally!
All right.
I called Pete today to remind him because he's so busy, he forgets. All right, so the reason we ask you here, Pete, is because we know that you want to put up a sign on your residential property on the hill. So just to explain to everybody where this is, County Trunk Z coming off from Highway 13. It goes down the hill by the cranberry marshes. I call them Nepco Lake. No, they're not called Nepco. Sawyers, thank you.
Yes.
What they
Sarah's from Cranberry.
Yes. So right at the top of the hill, Pete has a music store, and he would like to put up a sign. And there's been so many different interpretations of his request floating around that we had to have him come in and tell us exactly what he wants. So
Okay.
please do.
All right. So I've been chasing this for a while now. And what came to fruition was that I have a sign that is going to be, it's a guitar, and it matches the guitar on my mailboxes out there, and then the one in the yard, it's a 335 like Chuck Berry would play basically. But this one is big. It's 15 feet long. The body of it is 5 feet high, and it goes up in the air. We're thinking it's about 16 feet. So it's going to be suspended up in there on 2 poles. And I did put the concrete in already, and that's what we're going over the logistics of all that previously to support the sign. And it has four music notes that are 48 inches high, and 2 of them which are going to be on weather vanes, so they'll rotate, with the wind a little bit like that. It's a phenomenal looking sign when it's going to be done. I got about $3,000 into the building of just the guitar alone. It's all stainless steel, and the body work on it, or the paint and everything, is going to be done in a body shop, so it's going to be premier. And so that goes up in the air, and it's supported on, originally I was going to put it with 4x4 steel tubing. Then we got into the highway department and the support and all that, and then we got into the distance from the right of way and everything. And my last conversation was with Roland, and I did receive I felt a favorable blessing from him, and basically it kind of rolled back into the town, as far as what the logistics were going to be about it. What he did tell me is if they would rather see it go to like a treated timber, because they're going to have a breakaway, which should be 1 foot above the ground. And it was actually, the other thing that he commented on that was in favor was that the foundation was below the grade, so it's not coming above the ground. And as long as that was, supporting the sign, that's what their recommendations, or not their recommendations, that's just the way it had to be. So.
Is that because of the setbacks of where that is located at?
Did he say the distance from the?
He said it was, because right now it's sitting at 43 feet. He said that was acceptable. So then it would be flipped back here. So they approved it, because I told him right where it was at. And I invited him to come out and see it and drive by and that, so they can get an idea of it. And I told him it was right in line with my other tree in my yard. So
basically, as long as you have a breakaway there.
Yeah, breakaway. He told me that had to be a 1-inch bore on each support, 1 foot above the ground, in case a vehicle came off the road, which they'd have to be moving quite a bit fast just to get 43 feet into the.
What are you using for the posts then?
4x4s.
4x4s?
6x6s.
Okay. I was gonna say 4x4s you don't are actually considered a breakaway in themselves, but
Because,
I don't think a 6x6 would be a breakaway, would it?
Well, 6x6 is a hole.
yeah, a 1-inch
yeah,
hole.
that's why when you see the road signs where they're 4x6,
Okay.
they have a hole drilled through it.
Yeah.
I thought it was for the squirrels.
And I was more concerned about the cosmetic value because I have this sand and I'm like, I'm going with wood. Well, it can be sheathed, from that point up as long as there's a breakaway because when a vehicle hits it, it's going to snap it and take the
Guitar.
relief, from the impact.
Break
So,
your new sign.
right.
So-
Like, hey.
So for everybody in the audience, I'm going to sound really negative, and I don't mean it like this at all, because I think this guitar is beautiful. I think everything you've done with there is really nice. However, this is a residential property, and we have a sign ordinance for residential properties with a home-based business, which we consider yours, that says the verbiage on the sign has to be 1 foot by 2 foot. And according to this picture that you're providing, the verbiage on here is 4 foot by 8 foot. And that's like a billboard size. And that's not allowed in residential area. However, on the flip side of the coin, I have been chastised because we passed a new ordinance that says that if it's unique, that the board has the option to allow it. I agree with the unique, especially for the guitar. But what I don't agree with the unique is the size of the verbiage, because you've already told everybody it's a music store because you got the guitar holding up your mailbox, you got the guitar in your front yard, and then you're going to have this 15 foot by 5 foot guitar with these musical notes on weather vanes. So I don't really think you need that 4 foot by 8 foot verbiage. I think if you just put on there Gilson's Music Store.
So my other suggestion is the sign I have right now that's out there.
That's
And
perfect. I like
I
that.
could take that and transpose it to this one because that fits it goes by all the laws and the standards. So that's fine. I agree with you on that. So the sign that Ron close.
I didn't want to be the bad
Right in your
guy.
corner, Pete.
Right.
I didn't want to be the bad guy.
So and right now that would be fine because the guitar that I have behind her right now is more or less just a lawn ornament. It's not even attached. I just could stick that.
And that's exactly how I see this giant guitar. It's more of a lawn ornament
Yeah.
than an actual sign.
Yeah, and
But-
I feel cosmetically too, I actually agree with you because I do like my other sign because it's got a little more variety in color and it is scaled down. So my suggestion was to kind of meet you in the middle.
I like that.
And then we could just transpose that to the other one and then we're all.
I really have a problem when our ordinances are based on feelings and not facts.
Yes.
When it's unique, that's always in the eye of the beholder. And when it comes to music, please don't be offended, but I don't listen to music. I don't
Shame
listen to
on you.
radio. I am the most unmusical person you ever met.
Shouldn't have.
But I really do love the
I know I'm
Mailbox,
giving my
I go by
first
it
month
every
of
single
free
day.
piano lessons away too.
I bought my kids' musical instruments from you, but the thing is
Thank you.
that it's just, as the chairman and the interim zoning administrator, I didn't feel comfortable with that, but I thank you so much for meeting me in the middle.
Thank
And
you.
I know I would have been out rude here tonight. So I appreciate that.
So how big is your verbiage sign right now?
The one I have on there is 2 feet, basically 24 by, I think it's 6 feet long.
Oh, that's
I think
long.
we're allowed 32 square feet, I believe, for
Something.
Commercial.
on
No, that's
commercial.
on
commercial,
In
right?
residential,
Residential, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
2x4.
it's
so-
just like-
So
Okay.
it's smaller than the 4x8.
Yeah,
But it's still
Yeah.
bigger than.
But
I
it's
think
still
it's
bigger
actually
than what
5.
you wanted, and that's
I think
worries
it's
me.
2 by 5 actually.
But
It's
the
like-
one you have out there isn't that big.
No, I think it's actually only 5 feet by 2 feet high.
I didn't even think it was that big.
Yeah, because it's sitting off the road. It looks a little smaller, but
Okay.
I'll put a bigger one out there.
Nope,
if you want.
nope.
Well,
You better leave it alone.
Right,
I
right.
had every intention of fighting tonight for the 4x8.
I knew.
But you're the one that said it yourself. You're going to meet her in the middle.
Yep.
And as long as she's willing to meet you in the middle,
Yep.
and I want to make a motion to approve Pete Gilson's unique sign request with the negotiations between Pete and Lorelei. However you want to word that.
I have a motion by Josh. Do I have a
I'll
second?
back you up on that one, Josh. I'll
I have a
second
second by Carl.
You and I have personally been doing this for 7
All
months.
those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? All right. Thank you very much.
And I want to say
appreciate it.
thank you. I mean, I really enjoy working with everybody here, and thank you for letting me try to be more involved with the community and everything. And we're growing
Please.
down there. So
It looks very nice. You're keeping
Thank
the
you.
property up very nice.
I'm
It-
not
it
done
does.
yet. It's a journey, but keep looking forward to better things and more things positive coming out of that area. So
Well,
I
thank
look,
you.
I look forward to seeing it. It's completed, what it looks like completed. And I'm going to start saving funds to put that 4x8 sign on a billboard somewhere else.
please just don't ask for music to be playing all the time. That would
When the
really,
guitar is done, you guys come down here. We'll get your pictures on her playing that big
I
guitar.
can't wait to see it.
it is something. Okay.
Thanks for everything, Pete.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys have a
Thanks,
great
Pete.
evening.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
That was good.
Oh, need signatures.
Yep, that next one was just a typo on the sheet from the last
Okay.
meeting, so it's just,
Signatures for the records retention, that's because I forgot to include that page, right?
no, I had a typo with the date on it, so
Oh.
we didn't sign it, but it was all approved, I just,
I knew you were gonna chime in against me, but I wanted to have my say because I just don't want to set a precedent that we can't come back from. And I know that that verbiage in there is gonna kill us someday. I just know it is.
In all honesty, I never should have put an ordinance like that through.
I
Be a
know,
problem.
I know. If I could have voted, I would have.
Pretty sure I voted against it for that reason.
All right.
But I like his sign, so I have no
It
problem with
is,
it.
it is a
Quite
beautiful,
frankly, I have
he
no
keeps
problem
that
with them
yard-
utilizing the ordinance that we passed.
he keeps that yard meticulous and he has a great business. Everybody compliments the town for having him there. I don't have a problem with it, but not all businesses that walk in the door are gonna be like that. That's what scares me. Okay, town building updates. Holy cats, okay. So this is me. So as I have told the public before, we do have this money coming in from the solar, and I do believe that it should be utilized internally for the benefit of everybody in the town of Saratoga. And one of the things, well, our buildings are getting pretty rough shape. We just had to fix the furnace again last week. It seems like every single month we're fixing something on the either Public Works building or the town hall. And they're not cheap fixes. I mean, they're all like $1,000. And this is nickel and diming us. So we have come up with a plan to entertain replacing the Public Works building because there's really no fixing that. Because the Public Works building has drains down the middle of the floor that drain to, we don't know where. And it's been hit a couple times on the framework and it's been repaired and it's bent and there's holes in the wall that's been repaired by silly putty, that's not the true word, foam.
Great stuff.
Great stuff, yeah. And we heat this building. The furnaces are not up to code. There's nothing that's code in that building. So we're looking to replace that building, the same size, if not a little smaller than what it presently is. And we're looking to replace it where it is and moving it forward to meet the asphalt, because at some time in the future, we may want to join it with the hall. So it would be an easy and a cost-effective addition to put between the two. And so in saying that, before we can proceed with a remodel or with a new build, we have to figure out what we're gonna do with the town hall. Either we're gonna remodel it and make it potentially the administrative building and then move the EMS over here, or we're gonna tear it down and start new. But it seems like a hard thing to do is to tear it down because structurally it looks very sound. But it's going to need electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and it needs to be insulated because it's just a block building. So we have to ascertain if it's more cost effective to remodel or to build. So we did hire an architect. And the architect, at this point, he has drawn up the public works buildings. That's underway. Today we had soil tests done to see where we can put the drain fields, and they're gonna go right across in the green space on the other side of the parking lot. The drain fields will be a combination of the public works building and the potential remodel of the town hall. And we'll combine them and make them one to save money. The second issue that we have is where do we put the drains for the water or when they wash the trucks inside. Those drains have to go into a holding tank per state law as a couple of years ago. And that had to go to, that's actually got to go to the state for a review. And those are holding tanks. So we did that today. We did get some plans from the architect, and in looking those over, I don't know if you guys have comments on them. I did take them to the employees, and the employees had comments. And the reason I took it to the employees is because they're the ones that's got to work in there. Basically, it's a pretty simple layout as far as the offices go. The cost is going to be, of course, in the plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC, and the insulation, because this building would have to be insulated on the outside and the inside, just because it's black, and because there are metal supports on the outside, and those are exposed to the weather. And what happens is the metal expands and contracts with the weather, and the block does not. So it creates an airspace between the two. So if you just insulate the inside, you're not doing much good, but you have to insulate the inside and the outside. So I'm a little familiar. Previously, I was a building inspector, but I'm just familiar enough to be dangerous. So we had to hire people who are smarter than the rest of us. But that's where we are right now. And I copied all this to the board so they can look at it. Until we have something that we kind of like, we don't want to, spread it around. But if anybody wants to see what we come up with that's here in the audience, you're more than welcome to take a look at these. Actually, I'm going to kind of just pass them around here. These are just preliminaries, but it gives you an idea what they look like on the outside. So this would be the front of the town hall right here. Right here is where you all go in for voting right now, but we would put doors in the front. We're trying to bring the look of our sign and the representation of the town out, but without it costing a lot of money. So the inside, the ceiling, we would probably have all the utilities in the ceiling and paint them black like you see in an old restaurant, because that's the most cost effective. And then we'd have to hang some sound depressing tile along. But this is kind of the depiction of what we're kind of looking at. The floor plan is yet to be determined. But moving forward, we're trying to get some things done. But as we move forward, we're paying out a lot of money every month because it's kind of falling down around our ears. So I guess if you got any questions, feel free to ask the board. Any questions? We have no idea what this is gonna cost until we have some plans to work with.
And that's what we're coming up with now is, do we take what we have and make it better and update it so it lasts longer? Or do we say, you know what, we're too far gone, let's tear it down and rebuild? And
Is the architect gonna give you that, somewhat of an answer on that, whether you start over fresh or?
No,
So how would you?
well, they can give us,
he's giving us a set of working documents, which we can take to a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC installer
For the existing building?
for the existing building. For the Public Works building, he'll give us a set of working documents and we can do the same. That one,
That being said, we've kind of agreed, there's no saving that
Yeah.
building, that one,
Yeah.
we need to move forward.
but we will be bringing this to the town. I mean, it's not like we're gonna do anything behind the town's back. But until we have something to bring to you, we're just kind of like a work in progress.
So my question is, when I was on board, we went through this once before, and we
Right.
ran into the same problems you folks are, the cost of redoing this building.
Mhm.
That's why this building's here, is because it costs too much to do that one.
Right.
My question is, wondering the difference between the cost of remodeling or restructuring that building to building a new building right there.
We do have some rough estimates from the firm we were previously working with for building a new building. So once we get an idea
Okay.
from all those contractors what that building will cost, we can kind of compare them and
My
present.
fear, you stick a lot of money into that and you still got an old building.
Right. And we will have a 50-year-old,
61 or 59 or something.
Well, there's a lot of sentiment that wants to keep that.
70-year-old
I
building.
get that.
You know.
I love the building, but it's not my job. It's about 75,000 people.
Right.
7,500, 5,500 people. What's best for them?
And that's
Not
what,
about me.
and we were even talking just a little bit to the guy for the sewer installation. He said, are you gonna rent out that town hall? He said, when it's built to the community. I said, no. He said, everybody says that's a great idea. Let the town use it. He said, a year after they do that, they close it right back up. Because it costs too much to keep the pipes clean, to do the cleaning after the people have used it.
It was a
Because not
nightmare.
everybody is conscientious.
Remember that? Ugh.
So we have no intention of renting out the town hall, but we do have intention of utilizing the space a little better. So, the biggest factor, the biggest drawback is sitting right there. She's not gonna have as much voting room as what we have now, because the code does not allow for that big of a space without sprinklering it. And, so it's gonna be a little tight, but I'm sure our clerk can figure it out.
Most elections, I'm not as concerned, except for a November election, where the space is kind of tight because there's that much more turnout.
But and what we have all agreed, with the elections as big as they are, a lot of people don't want to stand in lines anymore, so they're coming in early to vote. So we're thinking that that's the trend, and we're really hoping that that is the trend. Otherwise, we will have some lines.
Well, I think with the COVID and things like that, they don't want to be around people neither.
Yeah, I think that's another thing.
And you have to have so much space, accessible
Yeah.
machines, and, you don't want those voting booths right on top
Yeah.
of one another to kind of give people their privacy and.
We'll figure it out. We always figure it out. So, that's kind of where we are in the building updates.
Yeah.
Any questions? Because I can really talk. All right. Consideration to resize septic system to accommodate the Holland Public Works. I think we just talked about
I
that.
have a question on that.
Sure.
I waited until we got to this one.
Sure.
You said the drain field or the new septic or both would be in the green space
Yes,
in front of the building or
The-
to the side of the parking lot right now?
right.
Is that in the road right away?
No, it will be outside.
This side?
It'll be inside.
I watched them dig it today. I'd have
Yeah.
been on that one.
All right.
I was right away.
We can't put a sign within 43 feet of the road. I don't want to put a septic either.
So we have to have a 300-gallon pouch tank for the bathrooms, for the hall and for the, garage.
300 gallon?
Yeah, no, 300. So you gotta remember, it's a pouch system. So it's just gotta hold it for a little bit until it goes through the drain field.
Oh.
The
This is a
holding
conventional
tank.
system?
Yes. So the holding tank
Gotcha.
for the water and oil and whatever else comes off those trucks, that has to be a 2,000 gallon holding tank.
That's what that's what we're talking about.
No,
Sorry.
that's a holding tank, so that goes nowhere, that gets pumped.
Yeah.
And the frequency of the pumping will be what is it?
I would imagine they have a gauge on that or an alarm that
Yes.
goes off.
Yes.
So that's septic for that. That would be far enough away from the current well that's on that side?
Yes, well, the well is going to be behind the building.
Oh,
A new
so
well.
Yeah, the
we'd
new
be
well,
looking at having to have a new well.
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah,
And a project of that scope,
yeah,
a well is.
Well, that's pretty minimal.
yeah.
Now, that's where, behind that building is where our
But-
current septic is though. Does that cause any problems?
It's not a septic behind the building. Behind the building is holding tanks. So nothing's been infiltrating into the ground. It's been putting in holding tanks.
Those are just holding tanks?
Yeah, according to plan, according to
The
plan.
tanks here,
Yeah.
septic tanks, yeah.
Well, here they're, yeah, here it's a
Okay.
drain field. So,
Okay.
yeah, but the one thing that kind of surprised me is that our plans have to go to the state. They didn't when I was an inspector. They don't know.
It's a long time ago.
All right, you. Let's see. Let's move on here. Resolution 2025-10 to borrow money for fire protection and ambulance contract. Okay, so that's who?
Paulette has the resolution.
Okay.
I have the paperwork here too for the loan, for the fire and ambulance loan. It would be taken out before December 31st. And I do it as close to December 31st as I,
Yep.
can. We are looking at $515,991.41 at a interest rate of 4.125%.
1.25.
4.125, payable on or before April 15th of 2026.
Okay, can you explain to everybody out there how that works, Billy Joe?
How what works?
Why we're taking out a loan to pay fire and ambulance?
Then this is included in our mill rate then?
Okay,
Because this
So-
is a debt.
yeah. So we borrow the money to pay it ahead of time, is basically what she's saying.
I don't know if you recall years ago, how long have you been in Saratoga?
10 years. 11.
Years ago, we did a $65 charge on a tax bill for the fire and that. And the state said no after we did it. And they wanted to take our shared revenue away from us, up to the amount that we charged the residents. But we could refund the residents, and then we got all our shared revenue. So, but this is how you do it. It is a debt to the town, for the town, and it goes on the mill rate then.
And then when we collect the taxes from you, then we pay it back. That's how it works.
We did that to help our road budget years ago.
Right, so you need a,
Motion to pay
I'll
it?
make a
motion
motion to
to-
approve the resolution to
And-
borrow the money for fire protection ambulance in the amount that you said. I didn't write down total
515.
amount. It's $515.
And there is a $500 charge for creating this document.
Okay.
From the bank?
Yes.
Okay. So is that in addition to that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a total of 0.1% of that loan, so.
Okay, I have a motion by Chase. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Josh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion passes. All right.
And then Lorelei, I need your signature and Paulette's in after the meeting on this bank
All right.
paperwork, please.
All right. Consideration to create an ad hoc committee for outdoor recreation plan update. Okay, so we had some discussion about having our rec plan updated every 5 years?
Yep.
And the Plan Commission has generously volunteered to research it and to do the work. But in order to do the work, we would like to have a focus committee. And that focus committee would consist of 2 members of the town boards. So it could be 2 Plan Commission members, or 1 Plan Commission and 1 town board member, or whoever wanted. But my suggestion is that they're paid when they meet, but only up to 2. So if you have 3 board members and 3 Plan Commission members, I don't care, I'm only paying 2. But I would like the rest of it to consist of townspeople, and then they'd be answerable to the Plan Commission. And then the Plan Commission could make a recommendation to the town board. Now, this was all my thought process, and I had Paulette verify through the WTA that I could do it that way, and we can.
Okay. I would like to see, and this ad hoc committee would answer to the Plan Commission, correct?
Yes.
It'd be under the direction of the Plan Commission?
Yes,
And I would like to see that ad hoc committee comprised of a board member, somebody in this board, a member of the Plan Commission, and I don't know how many residents, but maybe, 4?
that part I'll leave up to you,
Okay.
but I just saying that
He's on.
you would only be
I
able to
don't
click
believe I want to be
one.
on this
Yeah.
ad hoc committee.
And I know I do not, I have enough going on my plate.
And so you're saying it's only the 2 members, whether it be 1 board, 1 plan
Yep.
commission, whatever, that
Or
would
2
get paid
plan
for it.
that are
So
gonna get paid.
any citizens would be strictly volunteer.
Correct.
Okay.
And we would give a key to one of whoever the member is, so that you can meet over in the town hall, not here.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Because here is we got the security pad, and
Oh,
we'd have to
okay.
give out another
I
secure number.
understand that reasoning now. I was wondering what the reasoning was.
Yeah, and
because if a board
speaking
member
of
can't
which,
be
you
there-
need your number
She's
fixed.
got me
Yep,
too.
I
So-
taken care of.
That was scary, by the way.
So
That's
if
right.
if the
You can call
board
me anytime.
if the board approves the creation of this ad hoc committee, we will take it to our November Plan Commission meeting and decide how many members and come up with who's going to be the
Yep.
members on that. And then would I bring that back to the?
Nope, you can do it. We're gonna
Okay.
approve it tonight, and you can do it.
All right. So at the next town board meeting, I can give you
You can give us updates.
the update on how that formation went.
Sure.
Okay.
And I would like to see this committee generated for what, a year or 2 years, or what do you think?
I would say let's start it at a year.
1 year?
Let's start it at a
Okay.
year and see how it does. And if it's something that, if it's,
Works?
yeah, if it works out and they get a bunch done, then we'll extend it.
And I will leave it to you to form it, and.
Okay.
All right. Sound good? You got all that?
I hope so.
So the planning commission can enact this committee? Is that, or do we need? a
I
motion here
did
to
already.
enact?
I did
I
already.
believe we need,
We need a board motion.
yes. Once, if approved tonight, I will work on building that ad hoc committee for our plan commission meeting in November.
I will make a motion to approve the ad hoc committee for outdoor recreation plan update.
Okay, I have a motion by Chase. Do I have a second? I have a second by Carl. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we have a committee. Okay, somebody on the board, Josh? I don't know who you're gonna get.
I was gonna ask you.
She's already refused.
I've already refused categorically.
I'll talk to you about it a little bit, Josh.
There you go,
I'm semi-retiring, so.
there you go.
Sounds like you just found a chairman for the ad hoc committee.
I'm retired and buddy, I'm busy. All right, let's see, moving on, okay. Pay bills? Who wants to pay all the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay bills.
Okay, wait, questions? Any questions?
The only question
really?
I had was,
David?
I didn't mark it either. I was looking over and I forgot to mark it.
Knappen? Is that the one? Yeah, I did research, just so the audience knows again. We had someone who violated one of our ordinances and we took him to court and he did pay the forfeiture. However, our cost of our legal was more than the forfeiture. So now we're trying to figure out a way to recoup our legal fees. Because that just doesn't seem right. So I'm trying to figure that out. Anybody got any ideas? Yeah, that's what I thought.
What was skin cleanser?
Skin cleanser?
Yeah.
So that was from the
Superior
Superior Chemical.
Yeah.
I wanna say that the guys have like heavy duty cleansers that they use
Oh, yeah.
for like cleaning oils and
You know
things
that
like that
grease
off
stuff
their
that
hands.
you use in
Oh,
the
it's just
shop?
it's just like Gojo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
skin I was
And I
thinking.
just
I'm wondering if it
read
was like
what
a
was on
hazmat
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
Yep, nope, it should be just normal, like,
Just normal.
Heavy-
I will second Josh's motion to pay the bills.
Okay, I have a motion by Joss and a second by Chase to pay the bill. All those in favor?
Right.
What is, dot screen, $42?
the DOT screen, so we have
Oh,
to pay
I
them
get it.
for
Dot DOT, got
Yep.
it, got it. Fine.
questions a question.
Sorry. All right,
Sign and pass on.
John Henry,
I think that's
good deal.
payments removed.
No. All right, so what's next? Seems like I can't turn the page.
Agenda.
Future meeting, items for future meeting. Attorney,
Oh, yeah, the attorney.
Yep.
building updates,
Budget.
budget,
It's the day today.
truck, truck, lettering,
15.
lettering on the truck. Will it come lettered?
No, that's part of the time that it'll take to get it operational.
Okay. Then we gotta give it a number, or does,
DOT
give it a number.
Be the year, the other ones go the year.
Okay.
And then whether it's first, second, or third truck.
okay.
And I'm wondering if your radios, did you get radios for the trucks through the solar?
Not through them, no. No, but weren't we talking about
No, we were
our old
talking-
ones to see if I was, did I not ask Bob Bartek?
I don't know, we were talking to get some for these folks for the two trucks coming in.
We can go online to that project
And the reason
website.
I say that, it's not that they need that, they can talk back and forth, but if they can dial into what the counties are doing, you can hear
Right.
what they're doing up in Marshfield before it gets here, so you've got a head start on everything. I think when you go to the west, the storms are coming from the west, so they can hear the communications, whether there's heavy rain, ice coming.
And you're talking about keeping our own channel, being able to communicate with them.
Oh, yeah,
If we want.
these radios, you can communicate, they don't a lot, but you still can get on their channel and hear what's going on.
So I could apply to that project website for Invenergy.
Yeah, through these.
Yeah, right. If you give me the
Well, we
details.
probably go through Eric, I would think, through the county.
Okay. All right,
It's a good thing.
okay. All
They
right,
can hear what Grand Rapids, they can hear everybody.